I found no other love like this. You are the treasure that I have. In you, I'm truly satisfied. Jesus, you're my everything. You're the light that shines through me. You are the
Can you see
treasure
me?
that I have. In you, I'm truly satisfied. Oluwatos, Oluwatos, the Jesus that I know is enough for me. Oluwatos, Oluwatos, yo, the Jesus that I know is enough for me. This Jesus that I This Jesus that I've seen, this Jesus that I've heard, oh, this Jesus that I know, yeah. You are more than life to me. You are everything and more. You are the treasure inside of me. In you, I'm truly satisfied. Yesu give it, Yesu give it. The Jesus that I have is enough for me. Yesu give it, Jesus give it. The Jesus that I have is enough for me. The Jesus that I know is enough for me. The Jesus that I know is enough for me. Jésù tí mo mọ̀, ó tó fún mi. Ó tó fún mi, ẹ máa tó fún mi o. Jésù tí mo mọ̀, ó tó fún mi. Ó tó mi o, ó tó mi o. Jésù tí mo mọ̀, ó tó fún mi. Ó tó mi o. Jésù tí mo mọ̀, ó tó fún mi. Olúwa tó sí, Olúwa tó sí. The Jesus that I know is enough for me. Olúwa tó sí, Olúwa tó sí. The Jesus that I know is enough Olúwa tó sí. The Jesus that I know is enough for me. You are enough for 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 enough.
Hello, 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 hello. Welcome, everyone. Good evening, and welcome to the Prepared Mind Initiative. We are so excited to have you join us for tonight, our very first section. And truly, this is not just another session or event, it's a beginning of something truly intentional and powerful. are so excited to have you here for our session. You're prepared so that you guys will be and say something about now. Let me just was many people yeah. So that
Hello.
is why PMI exists. The Prepare My Initiative is a growth focused platform committed to helping students and young people build clarity, strengthen their identity, develop practical skills, and then what? Make better decisions and prepare intentionally for academics, career, and then life. We are building confident, thoughtful, and proactive individuals, but not just what graduates from the secondary school, from junior high school, and then from the university. This is a bit about the founder. I'm not going to go deeper into that. Let's then welcome the title of today's section, the Prepared Mind Initiative. So the Prepared Mind Initiative is growing from the inside out. And this topic is very powerful, very, very powerful, because before success becomes visible externally, growth must happen internally. And before you build your confidence or it shows on stage, it has to what develop privately, internally. And before you have clarity about anything that shapes your decisions, identity must be what? Solid. And when we talk about resilience, before resilience shows in public, it is strength that you build quietly makes it what? Visible. So tonight we are going to dive deeper into the internal what? Foundation. And we have someone truly intentional and then what? Experience. It's one thing to talk about growth, and it's another to live it and what? Guide others through it. So, yeah, we are truly honored to have our speaker with us. He's a very great individual. He has inspired so many privately and externally with his background, his experiences. He has done so much. He's a graduate from the University of Cape Coast, a first class student, ICAG certified, and then a main contestant in the Tertiary Business Sense Challenge, and he's currently with Deloitte. Isn't that amazing? His journey is one of what? Discipline, consistency, and resilience in navigating rigorous academics and professional growth. So, in this powerful session that has been inspired by our speaker's personal growth of faith and self discovery, you will gain practical insight on building confidence, self-awareness, personal what influence, while what learning how to balance ambition, faith, and your well-being without burning out or losing yourself. I truly believe that tonight's conversation will challenge us, it will stretch us, and maybe, just maybe, even shift how we see ourselves. So without taking much of your time, please join me in welcoming our speaker, Mr. Charles Mensah, a phenomenal individual on the stage. And please, before our speaker comes, make sure you leave your chat in the comment section, in the live chat, and to make your video of high quality, you can change the settings resolution to a higher one in case you are using the default one. So yeah, let's welcome our speaker as he starts everything. Yeah, thank you.
Yeah,
The floor
thank
is
you for
yours.
that. Good evening, everyone. I honestly don't know if you can see me now, but uh, let me try to let me try to adjust myself very well. My skin tone isn't the most preferred one to for an evening, but let me just manage with that. Yes.
Of course.
So tonight we are going to look at a topic that isn't really focused on of late, but I feel is very important, especially if you're upcoming and you have little to few uh, guidance or mentorship. So tonight we're just going to be looking at how we could grow from the inside out generally by touching on I think five key topics. If you could, yes. So the agenda for tonight is going to focus on five key topics, which is to grow from the inside out, making decisions based on your faith, talking about psychological health, focusing on mental health, resilience, emotional intelligence, a topic that most of us take for granted, but is very important. And then we also talk about general well-being. Um, Next slide, please. Yeah, we have this famous quote by Benjamin Franklin, and I trust you know him. He says that by failing to prepare, you are preparing to fail. I don't know how many of us that have heard this famous quote before, but it was said by Benjamin Franklin. You could look up more on him to know who he is. It's also part of um, getting inspiration. Okay, so we move on to talk about the objectives of this presentation. And I personally have divided the objectives into five sections. We are saying that you are supposed to understand how your identity and values shape you. You are supposed to show how your faith guides you ethically. You are supposed to highlight the importance of emotional strength and mental well being. You are supposed to also explain how self awareness builds confidence and influence. And finally, we are supposed to make sure that this presentation helps us to show the importance of balancing our goals, our faith, and our general well being. So, diving on, we are just going to take the first one and then focus more on that personal development and faith. So, generally speaking, I'm going to be dividing whatsoever I talk about into three sections. Next slide, please. Into three sections, just to highlight the most important things under these topics. So, the first one is talking about our identity. Identity, generally speaking, should you see usually when we are asked who are we tend to get a bit confused, not because we don't really know who we are, we just don't know how to put it. And that's generally because, in my opinion, um, we we haven't really sat down to ask ourselves that question. Most of the times, we just go with the flow. If you are in school, if you are pursuing a particular program, a particular degree, we just go with the flow. Sometimes we just take decisions because we feel like our friends or the masses are actually following that path. But to grow personally, inwardly, for it to manifest and bear fruits, we are supposed to tackle these topics importantly. The first topic we are talking about here is your identity. You see, I have listed this first point here, which says that your identity is just your true understanding of who you are beyond your roles and then your achievements. So, moving on, it also says that who you are or your identity factors in what you believe in, your character, your attitude you show, your strengths, your weaknesses, how you welcome reactions. Your identity is not supposed to be getting you confused. When someone asks you who you are, you're not supposed to get confused with your answer. But most of the times we find ourselves doing that. So our topic tonight is supposed to help us know what to say whenever we are trying to answer the question who we are or what our identity is. So these 3 points have been listed out. I think it should help us understand what identity is better. It is more like an interconnected points or an interconnected factors that come together and then make up ourselves generally. Moving on, we are talking about values. I don't really know if you've really had a topic on values for you to understand it properly, but values is more related to ethics. And we are saying over here that there are those principles that guide your behavior and decisions in life. Take this for example. If you happen to see a wallet on the ground, yes, and um, you open the wallet, you realize we have 200 CDs notes in the wallet, and then you also see the person's ID card there, meaning there are some ways you can actually reach the owner of this wallet. Uh, you have two decisions to make at that point. The first decision is to either take the money and ignore the fact that you can actually reach out to the person, or you can also decide that you can try to trace the person and then return the wallet to its rightful owner. And you deciding on what to do in this instance depends on the values you uphold. So it is very important that we understand what values are if we are supposed to grow from the inside out. Values is a very important factor if we want to grow. Now, your values should be linked to your character or whatever you show. So, for me personally, some of my values are: one, honesty, integrity. We have also loyalty. So those are some of my values that I live with. I don't want to say I work with, but I'll just say I live with. Yes. So that is it for the values. And then when we get to the hello, can you see the PowerPoint presentation? Okay. Our host is, I think, experiencing a few net setbacks, but give her a second, she'll be back. Okay. Please scroll forward for us, please. This slide. Yes, this is where we are. So we're talking about values, and I generally summarized everything, even with that scenario with the wallet. Yes, your values shape who your your whole personality is going to be, and it's also going to define your reputation. And trust me, moving on, reputation is a very important resource you are not supposed to joke with. Now, the third thing we are supposed to focus on when it gets to the personal development and faith is purpose-driven learning. What I call the purpose-driven learning. It means that over here you are learning all right, but you have a purpose attached to it. Remember, initially when I started this presentation, I stated that um, people actually pursue programs or degrees because they are just moving with the flow. Some people they just want to be part of a particular university. So they just collect a program and then they just move on with it.
This one kind of
But here, if you want to develop yourself personally, you are supposed to have a purpose behind your learning. Means that your direction should be clear. What are you aiming to achieve at the end of the day? Where do you see yourself after the end of that program or that learning journey you've embarked? So it means that you have to understand why you do what you want to do and ensure that every action you take goes along with whatsoever you are planning as your goals and as your beliefs. So let me give a good scenario here. If you are in senior high school or in the university, and then you get to realize that sometimes you be in class and then some of your colleagues keep telling you, "Ah, this thing is too difficult. I said it. I told my parents I didn't want to do this." But they are sitting in the class with you. You see, over there you get to realize that there's a problem. The problem over here being that they don't even know the reason behind they being in a class, an actual reason, an actual goal. They don't have that backed with their learning. So if that is the case, how do you develop as an individual? So the third paragraph is also saying that when you are living with a purpose, it gives you motivation. It helps you focus and makes you determined. It helps you avoid distractions and encourages you to invest your time and energy in things that contribute to personal growth and fulfillment. Now, if you know for a fact that the main reason you are pursuing this particular program is to become the president of the country, I don't think you allow certain kind of setbacks to influence your decision or to influence the way you prepare, right? Once you know the goal you are trying to achieve, you are so determined, you are so focused that any kind of thing that is not aligned with your goal is seen as a distraction to you. Do you get it? So personal development, I have summarized it into 3 points, which is identity, knowing who you are, values, the characters you uphold, the principles that you uphold, and then the learning that you do, which is backed by a purpose. So the next slide we are going to talk about is supposed to focus on the topic faith-based decision making. And I know this isn't really common because most of us we just take decisions based on what we see, based on the reactions we are getting. So with this, I'm also focusing on 3 points, and they are, so the first one is going to be on spiritual guidance. The spiritual guidance basically talking about you being guided by a particular belief, by a particular set of principles you uphold that are divine to you, and then integrity and responsibility, and then finally a controversial topic, although for me is very factual, trust and confidence in God. So spiritual guidance is just saying that growing from the inside out, when you're making decisions, you should be guided spiritually, be guided by what you believe in. For me in particular, I am a Christian. So whenever I am towards a particular path, let me make it more practical. Whenever I am or I was in university trying to decide on important things that are going to help me build my CGPA or help me improve as a student, I don't just take the decision in the blue. I make sure that I get spiritual guidance, and it means that you are making decisions based on your spiritual beliefs. Do you get it? So it's our host off again. Okay. I don't know if you can hear me, but you let me continue until she gets back. So the spiritual guidance over here isn't more like an angel needs to visit you, but no, if you know that this is what I believe in, this is what for me, this is what the Bible is saying, the word of God is saying concerning making a particular decision, then I need to consult the word of God before I see if it aligns with the kind of decision I'm going to make, even though it is academic in nature. Because remember, the ultimate goal is to develop myself personally, and it involves my spiritual life as well. Then, second point over there we have is the integrity and responsibility. Integrity over here just tries to tell us that we doing the right thing even when no one is watching. So, uh, the values are the principles that guide your behavior and the decisions you take. And then your responsibility is okay, our host is back. And then your responsibility is you actually taking accountability for whatsoever that has been entrusted to you. Integrity and responsibility go hand in hand. Imagine someone that hasn't been that has been entrusted with a particular project and is unable to stay true even when no one is watching. It is very important that we blend the character of integrity in whatsoever we do, because along the line we get to move along the line we get to realize that this integrity thing is needed in every aspect of our professional development. The third point being the fact that you need to trust and have confidence in God Almighty. For me, this is who I have my trust in. This is who I believe is the creator of the universe. I know other religions will have their supreme deities, but for me, mine is God Almighty. So I'm seeing that when I'm making decisions, I have trust and confidence in whatsoever the Word of God says. And because I have that trust, I know that I'm supposed to be calm in whatsoever I am facing. The results might not be immediate, but overall, I always see whatsoever I am expecting. And this is more personal to me. But when I am trusting, when I am making that decision to say, okay, I trust you, I don't tell anyone. I just make that decision and make my silent prayer. Yes. So for this, practically, I can say that when I was in my final year, I remember our lecturer out of nowhere just asked me to be part of uh, the tertiary business sense challenge, and this is my final year. It means I had to put a lot into my effort, and by doing so, it means that I need to focus on my degree programs. And then here lies the case. I'm being faced with an option to add another academic challenge to my portfolio, and then over here I just prayed to God and I said, should I do this? Then I remembered this verse in the Bible that says, I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me. So at that point I just said that if God didn't believe that I would be able to do this, I don't think He would bring it my way. That is one of my motivations, and I think by taking that step and trusting God along the way, I didn't really have those challenges, and it was amazing. Although there were challenges, it was generally amazing. So I am grateful. Uh, Trusting in God also gives you peace and confidence. Like I said, even though it looked so challenging, you would ask yourself, ideally, the human brain would say rationally it isn't practical for you to do that. But when you are trusting in God and what He has said, you just have to lay back and just be at peace, because you know that once the Lord was the one who said do it, it will all be fine. And indeed, it was all fine. I didn't drop in my degree certification. I didn't face this academic challenge whatsoever. Yeah. don't know why our host is having challenges all, all of a sudden. But okay, let's try to make it snappy for her. The the next one is also talking about our mental health and our emotional intelligence. One of the topics that isn't really talked about enough, because for this side of our world, we hardly focus on the mental health of ourselves. But for this one to have, I've just summarized it in 3 points. The first point being our mental health. Generally, when we say your mental health, it's just your emotional, psychological, and mental well-being. Means that up there is everything okay. And I don't mean this as an insult. I just want to let you have a self-reflection. Up there is everything okay. You have that clear mind to study. Are there things going on at home that keeps you distracted whenever you take or pick up a book to study? Remember, you can have it all settled. You can have your goals defined. You can have your focus there. But once you don't experience that peace up there in your mind, you always face distractions. You always face confusions. You won't have that 100% focus that your program needs, or that uh, your course you are reading needs. And it is very important because it allows you to manage your stress and make sure that you are always having that positive mindset. Remember, it is your mind that helps you achieve everything as an individual, basically. So resilience is also talking about you being able to get back on your feet while once you've been struck down. For many of us, when challenges of life hit us, we find it difficult to get back up. But uh, I want to tell you tonight is that if you want to grow from the inside out, if you want to develop yourself individually, you should learn how to have the character of resilience, which is just trying to say that uh, you remaining strong and you deciding to move forward. Trust me, I have had various instances where I I was struck down, both physically, spiritually, even mentally. I think for my side, the mental part was what I realized more, because imagine you studying and then uh, you call home sometimes and then you hear that a thing or two are not going on well at home. You acting or you being so concerned, you start to overthink, and to me that is a terrible blow, because it is my mind I am using to accomplish a lot of things. So I also said to myself that you worrying about all this does not add a single strain of hair to your head. I just remembered that verse in the Bible, and then from there I just told myself I'll just pick up myself whenever I'm being struck down. I'll just continue to move forward, overcome every single obstacle. On campus, you face a lot of this. Sometimes you prepare for 8 whole hours sitting behind the book, preparing for a quiz exam, and then you enter the exam hall, paper put in front of you. You get to realize that the scope of your learning did not even touch even one question. Yeah, we experienced that one time with one course, and I must say it was the lowest I have ever performed in school. And at that point, I just asked myself, so is that it? Did we struggle all this time to just get here? Then I said to myself, it's if there's one thing I am a winner. So I just decided to just pick myself up, remain strong, and then overcome that obstacle. Surprisingly, I just started performing well with that kind of mindset. It's just one course. Yeah, even though the blow was harsh, but it's just one course. It's just a course. That's not the end of life. So pick yourself up, learn from your failures, and then instead of you giving up, you just keep moving forward. Final one talking about emotional intelligence is drawing our attention to the ability to understand and manage your emotions. For many of us, we are reactors, we are not respondents. Yeah, I'm saying this because there's a difference between reaction and responding. You reacting meaning you immediately giving you immediately doing something once you've been immediately affected by an action of another. But when you decide to respond, in that instance, you decide to take a few seconds to analyze the situation, to understand whatever is going on. Sometimes some of our friends, especially the females, when they experience most of these mood swings, they could um, make it a bit awkward whenever you're having conversations with them, with the tantrums, the change in attitude towards you. They usually give off that those kind of vibe, and then you feel no, today isn't the normal. In that instance, you have two options. It's either you react or you respond. Someone who reacts will immediately return the energy and say, okay, fine, if you don't want to speak to me, just be at your corner. I do not even want to speak to you anyway. Who do you think you are? That's more like a reaction. But when you want to respond to the situation, you ask yourself, is she always this way? If the answer is no, then you just have to find out further what at all is going on. If you can't find out what the issue is, all you just need to do is back off because it looks heated at the moment. You see, in that instance, you are just applying what we call emotional intelligence, and you get to realize that at that instance you are calm, even though the whole situation is looking stressful. And remember, you acting all stress doesn't solve the situation. You get it? You acting all reactive doesn't solve the situation. You trying to force something which isn't coming immediately doesn't solve the situation. You should have what we call emotional intelligence for you to analyze the current situation at hand. Something I'll say, read the room. If you realize that right now, no, things are not actually looking or feeling the way I think it normally does, you should just read the room, remain calm, and and not let the stress overcome you. So that's basically about this topic: mental health, resilience, and an emotional intelligence. Okay, then the next one is also talking about our confidence and self awareness. And I think this is where most of us find our challenges. If any of my course mates are here, they would attest to the fact that I am someone who is always um, asking questions in class and trying to answer them. It isn't because I am all knowing, because trust me, most at times I do not even get the answers correct. But I was focusing towards one thing, and that is building my confidence. You know, when you enter the the job market, or when you enter the workplace, that is where you get to realize that you won't be in your corner minding your business like how you are in your class, just at that corner listening to your teacher. It isn't the same at a workplace. So if it isn't the same, I told myself this: if it isn't the same at the workplace, what then should I do? So the next slide talks about things I've actually summarized. Be confident. That's the first one. Believe in yourself. Not because you're all perfect, but just tell yourself, if this person is also doing it, and this person has flesh and blood the same way I do, what should stop me from also doing that? Of course, we have intelligence quotients, our IQs. Our IQs are not the same, but But if we are on the same track, if we are doing the same thing, I think there should be a positive correlation, or there should be a positive or a strong regression to me also achieving more. So at that instance, I just said to myself, no, I need to believe more. I need to believe in myself. And believing in yourself starts by you going out there, putting yourself out there, exposing yourself to opportunities. Sometimes you get to realize that when your teacher realizes or your lecturer realizes that you are the one that usually answers questions the most, when there is an opportunity to represent students on a particular platform, he thinks of you first because he knows you are outspoken. He knows that you trust yourself. He knows that you believe in yourself. He knows that you can conquer. And that's what confidence gets you. Confidence is the main reason I was able to deliver that kind of performance in the business sense challenge I partook in last year. It wasn't because I was perfect or I was as good as the students that I contested with. Many of my colleagues could attest to the fact that I even prepared for that contest with little time. I think about 3 months, while other contestants prepared for this contest for years. And when you are there on the seat, no one is going to tell you, "Come on, you can do it. Speak." You need to believe in yourself. That's how it is. And self-awareness is just trying to say, when you understand yourself, when you understand your emotions, when you know your limits, you know where you can get to and say, "Okay, fine, it's enough for me." It helps you to make your decisions in a much more better way. Your emotions are always kept in check. And then within yourself, you feel yourself growing. Do you get it? And then personal influence is just saying that you yourself being an impact based on your the way you behave, based on the attitudes you portray. So I remember right after the contest, I didn't even know I had inspired a lot of people that way. Because I had people in level 100, 200 texting me and then asking me, so how did you do it? Is it what should I do? What should I do to also deliver a performance like that? And trust me, this kind of influence is built when you align your character, your actions, and your behaviors well. You should make sure that you treat people with respect. You should make sure that you walk with integrity. You should make sure that you are confident and you are consistent, you are disciplined. It is excuse me, it is more interconnected if you even analyze it. And and by that way you get to realize that respect comes to you. People try to look up to you. People trust you better. I have this level 100 students that is always in my DM. Sometimes he even gets me frustrated because he's always asking, so how do I get to be like you? How do I get to be like you? And I always tell the person, just be confident. And one of my famous quotes: "You never know how high you can get until you take the first step and never stop to look back." That's what I keep telling myself. Okay, so the next one I think should be the final one, is for us to focus on our general well being. And that one has been focused on 3 points. Okay, 3 points, which is to balance your ambition, your faith, and generally your whole well-being. So generally, ambition is just our desire and our determination to achieve our goals. We know that, but there should be a balance, because you can't tell me you're, you're in SHS 3, and then your ambitions are in the next 3 years to become the president of the country. It doesn't really add up. Your ambitions should be set based on your strengths. So you should do that personal assessment. Okay, can I even do this at all? Can I even pursue this at all? The fact that the multitude are going for it doesn't necessarily mean I should as well. Do you get it? And it is more like you trying to leave the country to pursue greener pastures in developed countries. It doesn't necessarily mean that once others are doing it, you should also do the same. What if what's going to work for you is you staying here and landing a big shot? Because trust me, most of the times, those people pursuing or too ambitious like that end up end up doing a little less better than you. I don't want to say worse because most of the times you get to realize that it doesn't really end well. But I'm not trying to be negative here. I'm just trying to say that let your ambitions be healthy. Let your ambitions follow a particular target which is attainable. It should be realistic. Okay, fine. Um, can I be among the top 10 students in my class? I think that is more realistic. Okay, fine. Can I can I achieve 99% in every single um course examination I write? No. Can I achieve 90% in every paper? To me, no, I cannot. So what can I do? And it should be good. So you see, that way you are thinking in a healthy way, but you're also being ambitious. The faith is just trying to say that you are remaining grounded in your values, and at the same time, as you set all these healthy ambitions, you've attached the God factor to it as well. I'm speaking this way because this is the trick I used. When I set my ambitions, then I take it up to my Father in heaven. I tell God, God, this is your son, and this is what your son is seeking from you. You've given me the strength, you've given me the ability to pursue this. This is what I think that realistically I can achieve. If you think that you know better and you could let me achieve higher, who am I to stop you? If not, I think personally assessing myself, this is what I can achieve. You get it? So I attach my faith to it, and then I just go in for it. And most of the times it works. It works for me. This is one of the tricks I use to remain first class throughout my whole 4 year in UCC. I just it would amaze you to hear that while people were saying I want to be a level four, I want to be a 4.0 student. Uh, I will say I just want to be at 3.85. That was my ambition. I didn't even aim for 3.9. I just wanted to be 3.85 because going for 3.9, I know myself is going to take too much from me. And if I align myself to just one part of life, which is learning, I miss out on a lot other. Do you get it? So I just set a healthy ambition for myself, put it up to God, and then I told God to let me achieve this. And I just worked towards that one. And when I was doing all that, I made sure that physically I am healthy by getting enough rest, by having fun when I have the opportunity. And for my colleagues that know me, they know that I really love to game on that little iPad I had from level 100 throughout my whole 4 year. But it's all part of my well-being. I just made sure that emotionally I'm stable. Physically I am fit, and then spiritually I'm also aligned. I wasn't the type that used to go to church all the time, but I made sure that I read my verses, I make my prayers to God, I make that communication. When I get the opportunity to go to church, I don't joke with that one as well. But then trying to find a balance among all these factors is very important. Life is not all about learning. You are supposed to build your spiritual life as well. You are supposed to build your relationships you have with other people. And you're supposed to also make sure that your ambitions in your learning journey are achieved. Eh, it's not an easy task. You have to just find a balance for all these. You get it? So these are the few things I just wanted to discuss with you. And then I just want us to look at a practical way all these factors were analyzed. This is a story about David. I gave a small background here. Mm, And as a disclaimer, this David is no friend of mine. I just created an example. So I'm just saying that David is a first year student in the university, and then he feels that pressure to excel and fit in. I put this there because I remember almost everyone in my class said to themselves, this university I'm here there. I'm just coming to get 4.0, 4.0. At first, he was following the crowd, so he was saying this with his friends, 4.0, perfect score. But after being tempted to cheat on an exam, he reflects on his true values, honesty and kindness. When you are trying to pursue certain kind of ambitions, you get to realize that, nah, I cannot do this honestly. Sometimes you have to cheat your way through it. That is when your values come in. And when you do that, are you developing yourself personally? So he decides to focus on personal growth and helping others. And he joins some community service groups. So on campus, you have a lot of these other groups. For me, um, the TBSA group. I also joined my church choir group, but I had to stop later on due to certain issues. Yes, so and then for resilience and then balance, when he's struggling academically and he feels homesick, he seeks support and learns from his setbacks. And then he balances his ambitions with self-care, faith, and friendships. So he's not taking the whole learning journey by himself. He's got his friends with him. Remember, they also feel fatigued as well. So when it happens, he doesn't just face it alone. His friends give him that comfort. He reflects on all the challenges he's facing, and then he reassures himself that he's a winner. So by the end of the year, he achieves good grades. He builds the strong relationships, and then he finds fulfillment by living with his identity and his purpose. And what lesson do we learn from the story of David? We are saying that staying true to your values and balancing ambitions with your well being leads to genuine success and personal growth. I feel like I'm in this particular situation David is in. Right from level 100, my roommates could even attest to the fact that when it came to honesty and truthfulness in exam rooms, I don't joke with them. You won't catch me talking in an exam room asking my friend what the answers to these questions are, because those were my personal values. I believe that to grow individually, I should be able to test myself to realize what I know and what I don't. What my friend will tell me is what he knows. What about me? The next time, can I say it? The next time, can I give an answer for it? You get it? The second case study is where we see the story of Mary, another another case. We are saying Mary over here is in senior high school and she's a student who wants to do well in her studies and to be accepted by her peers. And we usually face that during our teenage um, times. So she sometimes feels the pressure to compromise her values to fit in. She sees all these girls and what they do. She feels like, "Oh, let me just throw away some beliefs and some attitudes of mine just to seek approval from these friends. I want to also feel part of that society. I want to feel I want to feel valued. I want to feel important. But after being encouraged to gossip about a classmate, she realizes honesty and respect are important to her. So she decides to stand by her values, even if it means not joining in with the other colleagues. So she sets that goal to be a positive influence at school. She makes sure that when people talk to her, people find respect coming out of the conversation. People find tolerance coming out of that kind of conversation. And then they also aspire to be like Mary when they also talk and communicate. When she's facing setbacks like disappointing test results, she talks to her teachers and she works harder instead of giving up. Some colleagues of mine I have, they'll be like, at least I didn't fail. At least I'm not the only one failing. She also makes time for her hobbies, her friends, and spiritual life. And this is why I speak about well-being all the time. And by the end of the year, she earns respect from both her teachers and her students. And she achieves her academic goals. She feels proud, and she stays true to herself. To be honest, these stories concerning David and Mary are are stories that belong to me, but I've actually separated it for David, for fictional people, David and Mary. Um, Actually, these are my personal experiences. I've had a lot of situations where I felt that strong urge to compromise my values, to compromise my faith, just to fit in. And I took a bold step and decided to go up about it my way. And I don't think, looking back, I regret doing that. Because if I look at myself right now, I am so proud of where I am now. And I know I'm not going to stop. The only things that took me there are the factors that helped me to develop myself. I made sure I asked myself and I figured out who I was, my identity. I focused on upholding my values. I made sure that there was a purpose behind my learning, so I wasn't joking with my studies. Overall, I was so self aware and I was so confident in whatsoever I was doing. And at the end of the day, even though it wasn't perfect, trust me, there was development. So, summarizing it all, this has been my experience throughout the whole journey. I want to leave these things with you. On identity, I'm saying that true identity is understanding who you are beyond your roles or your achievements. And when you know yourself, it builds that confidence, it builds that kind of wise decisions you make. And that external pressures you feel, you get to withstand them. Your values are those guiding principles for the way you behave and the decisions you eventually end up making. And when your values are strong, you get to realize that your decisions, your choices are so ethical. Now, when you live with a purpose, or when you learn with a purpose, it means that all your actions are aligning. Your beliefs, your goals, they are all on the same line. And that way, you get that self motivation, that focus that helps you to achieve that purpose. And when you make your decisions based on your faith, you get to realize that you you become so calm, and then you are so full of trust, even though it doesn't look very certain, even though it looks highly improbable. If I failed to mention earlier, the the competition I volunteered in wasn't the only thing I was juggling at the same time. Ideally, I was even focusing on four things. So even adding business sense challenge to it was a tough decision for me to make. Then again, I remembered that I have a father I can just put it up to, and see if he's going to approve of it for me. That's literally how I make my decisions, and he always gives me a sign to go ahead. So once I go ahead, I just feel calm throughout the whole journey. But then I don't let my guard down, because trust me, I always strive for excellence. The Japanese will call it the Kaizen principles, striving for excellence. You won't get the excellence, but at least strive for it. And then the development is what you get at the end of the day. So my quote, true success is not just measured by what you achieve, but by who you become in the process. When your identity, your values and purposes are in harmony, you find fulfillment that lasts. So I hope this has been impactful, and I hope you've learned something. If you've got questions for me, I'm free to take a few questions from you guys. If not, I'd like to end my presentation here, and I hope it was very impactful for everyone that joined throughout the whole session. Thank you guys.
Thank you so much, Mr. Charles. Really appreciate and effort and making this a successful section for us all. I hope we've all been stretched. We've had a up on every single thing. Maybe later, when you watch it later and you have a question, you can leave it in the comment section. We will definitely attend to you in the comment section. God bless you all so much for honoring this invitation. We really appreciate the time and effort, and most importantly, God for making this particular event coming to life. It's been really great having our um, speaker, having the PMI team as well put this together, and having the audience also join us. No matter how many we are here, we truly believe that one day we are going to have a testimony about the Prepared Mind initiative. Now, let's in anticipation for our next session, which is coming off next week, Friday, same time, 7:30 p.m. Just in case, please tell a friend to tell another friend. We are coming live, and the session is going to focus on AI content creation and YouTube monetization. You cannot afford to miss this particular one. You will learn how AI content creation and YouTube work together to help students create grow and monetize digital skills without needing perfection or prior experience. You can have your bachelor's degree, you can have other things that you are doing, but do you have a side hustle? Do you have a side hustle that can gain you at least something, instead of just depending on, at the end of every month you are depending on what salary? Please, let's build our side hustles. PMI is standing here to bridge the gap that people do not know what they want. They do not think before they take a step. They do not prepare. Instead, they wait for opportunities to meet them. We are trying to take all those gap away. We want to bridge the gap between unemployment, between unpreparedness, between lack of opportunities, between lack of identity, mindset, everything that will lead you to growth. We want to bring the light to you and take off everything that will block your success and growth. Thank you so much. It's been really amazing having you all here. I'm truly, truly grateful. And yeah, in the absence of any questions, please don't forget to share the link. Share the link. Share the link. Share it to your junior high school course mate, friend, sister, sibling, colleague, enemy. Share it worldwide. And I want to apologize for the glitches earlier. We are hoping and looking forward to better services next time. See you next Friday. Bye.